Hey guys, Nick Showman here from Showtime Strength and Performance. What we're going to discuss today is how to box squat. We got Colton here. He's been box squatting and training with us really for about the last 6 years. All right, so he's got a pretty firm understanding. All right, the box squat, despite what people might think, does work. I've seen it work with raw lifters, geared lifters, beginner lifters, advanced lifters. It is really the best way to squat year round. So I think you will get a lot from it when it's done correctly. When it's done incorrectly, I do agree it's a very worthless exercise. But when it's done how Lou teaches it and how we've always taught it, it's very effective. So what we're going to do is Colton is going to get set up under the rack. If you have access to a monolift, awesome. If not, it's still the same, but you have a couple more steps. So what he's going to do, his feet, he's going to put his chest up to the bar, and he's going to look at, see where his feet are. So scoot your feet up a little bit. All right, so he's splitting his feet in half with the bar. Now he's behind the bar. Now what you want to do, don't want to do, is you don't want to move your feet back, like way back, and then look forward. All right, so if he just looks at it at that angle where he's leaning forward, his position, his depth perception is going to be off. So what he needs to do is walk his feet up into a straight line and then get set up for where his feet need to be then. So go ahead and get under the bar. All right. So he's going to start low and then raise the bar up to where he needs it. All right. He squats with a high bar. A lot of powerlifters don't squat with a low bar like what some people think. So that's another misconception, I would say. So now what he wants to do, he's going to start from the floor. His feet are pointed out a little bit so his knees contract correctly. He's going to have his hips back a little bit more. And you can see there's tension. He's trying to pull this carpet apart as he's setting up. All right, he's digging in. All right, so everything is right here. Now what he's going to do, he's going to keep his butt back, and he's just going to start arching up more and more, and keep your hips back a little bit more. And now arch in the middle of your back. Same thing, keep your hips back. And Colton, how tight does that feel? How locked in do you feel? Also, you'll notice his elbows, he wants to keep his elbows up under the bar. If you can create a straight line with the elbows and the bar, that's minimizing the amount of movement that you will have during the lift. And using max weight, the whole goal is to minimize the movement, shorten your range of motion, increase your levers. All right, so now what he's going to do, arch, hips back. All right. He's going to take in a big air into his belly. Colton, show an example of taking a big air into your face. If you watch, everything from here up raises. So do it again. All right. So this has a lot of pressure. The abs do not. So do one more time. All right, so if you come back here and you feel he's not very locked in his lats and his obliques, and that's a big no-no. So what we want to do, get everything set up, push your hips back, arch up into the bar. So now what he wants to do is take a big air here. Just notice his shoulders didn't raise that time. Then he's going to take an air in through his mouth. That just locks everything in up here, and he's just going to flare his knees out to stand it up. And now it's in a straight line. Go ahead and rack it. And we'll do that one more time. Go ahead and step out real quick. Where do you feel that the most?
My hips and back.
Your back, like right in here. All right, if you set up right, the middle to your upper back should be locked in and feel very, very firm. All right, it's also very tough to get used to that because you're flexing everything as tight as you can. So we'll run through that one more time. Go ahead and start from the beginning. So he gets lined up in a straight line. He's going to arch. Push your hips back right there. And now from there, keep your knees flared out, elbows down, big chest, keep the hips back. Arch right there. Now big air in through your belly, now in their mouth, and stand it up. And now to start the movement, all he's going to do, you'll notice everything's in a nice straight line with his hips. All right, if that bar is forward or backwards, you're fucked because you're making the lift way harder. So what we're going to do, he's going to start his movement, keep this arched. he's gonna start his movement by breaking the hips back. So go ahead and break back. Now flare your knees just a little bit. Don't roll your feet. And up. Arch. All right. Hips back, and up. Do 3 more. Chest up, boom. Elbows down. Chest up. Do 1 more. Right here, good. Now one thing I want to talk about, if you see somebody, so start going back, and your elbows go out like that, try that again. All right, so if you see somebody as they're going back and their elbows are kicking out, look at the difference in where the bar is when you're on that box. So now go ahead and pull your chest up and your elbows down. Arch here. All right, so now you see where the difference is just in bar movement. So kick your elbows out again, and then back in. All right, big stomach. And then 1 more time with them forward. All right, so you can see that is a significant difference when you're on that box. And if you take note, big chest, yeah. Look at how his knees are. His knees are forced out to the side. Keep this arch. All right, if you see people's knees coming in, that means they have weak glutes. Go ahead and stand up. All right, go ahead and rack it. All right, so one thing, what it means with the elbows, if their elbows are coming up, then what you need to do is get the lats stronger and the upper back, anything in your upper back. I don't care how you get your lats stronger, but you have to stay tucked down and in. And it's gonna feel, when you're getting used to it, it's gonna feel like you're gonna fall over backwards. You're not, you're actually just staying in a straight line, which most novice lifters are not used to. All right, then what? All right. And then if you notice, he wasn't falling to the box. All right, you don't fall to the box. If somebody is falling to the box, that means they have weak hamstrings and or weak abs. All right, that means that their hamstrings are not strong enough to load up and control the weight eccentrically. So what you need to do, what we do with our beginners that can't squat to the box they need to be at, is we will just add more of these 3/4 inch mats. And everybody gets all bent out of shape because they're now squatting high. It doesn't matter, you're squatting wrong. So we need to break it down and fix it to where you can do the movement correctly. And then once you become comfortable and you can handle max weights, then we can remove a mat. And that's how you get good technique. All right, the box squat's gotten a bad rep because people say it's bad for your back because you're sitting on a surface. We haven't had any back issues with doing so because we don't fall to the box. That's a lot of what people see is the jarring when people just fall. And most people put more weight on the bar than they can handle because their box is not at the height it needs to be. We all squat off a 12-inch box, and then the taller people will add these 3/4 inch mats if needed. But that's a 12-inch box is our base. If you notice Colton's feet, another thing that we see a lot of people box squatting incorrectly is a lot of people will pick their feet up and rock into it. We don't want to see the feet move throughout the movement. If they do move, whether you're on the box or whatever, that tells us that there's an incoordination or weakness somewhere, and we need to address that immediately. You'd never want to teach somebody to move their feet in the box squat or any lift, because as soon as you do, you are losing your stability, you're losing your base. All right, so you're only as strong as your base, so we need to make sure that it's stuck, and that's why we teach people to pull the carpet, because as soon as you try to spread the carpet, what you're doing is engaging your glutes. Your glutes are a huge part of your squat and your deadlift and even your bench if you do it right. All right, so Colton has done a pretty good job over the years of fixing things. He's still got a long way to go. Then another thing that we need to talk about, go ahead and get back under the bar, is at a meet, you'll hear people yelling, get your head up, keep your head up, all right? So when he's getting set up under the bar, you see he's gonna push his neck back. It's not so much that he's pushing his head straight up, because that's not creating tightness, all right? What he wants to do is look up slightly, but push his neck back and now stand up, all right? And throughout the entire movement, he is not gonna let his head fall at all. All right, anytime you let your head move down, if you look down, I always tell people, if you look down, you're gonna go down. If your head goes forward, you have to increase the range of motion, making it a not very efficient lift. But if you keep this locked in, pushing your neck muscles back to the bar, all right, that's what's gonna keep stability and keep the bar from swaying. All right, now what we wanna talk about is the hips have to break first on a box squat or a free squat. It doesn't matter, but the movement has to start from the hips. What we're gonna show you first is what happens when the knees start the movement first. So Colton, what I want you to do is just squat straight down. All right, so now Colton's just gonna sit straight down, pushing the knees first. All right, if you look, you wanna draw a straight line, what you're gonna see is his knees are way over his toes, and there is no way that he's gonna use anything in his posterior chain, his hamstrings, his glutes, anything to get up, all right? If you ever notice how when people fall forward, that is the position that they end up in at some point when they're falling, all right? So what you wanna do, go ahead and stand up. And Colton, how awkward was that to squat that way? All right, so same thing. You have to break the hips first. This is what is using your hamstrings and your backside. Your backside's a lot stronger than your quads. All right, that's why in raw lifting you're seeing a lot more quad tears, because when the hamstrings can't load, the quads have to take the pressure. That's how you get torn quads. Go ahead and stand up. So the number one thing we notice at meets, I've been guilty of it, I've seen Colton do it, I've seen everybody we train with do it at some point in their competitive lifting. So what you want to do, when you unrack it, so imagine he just stood up, what you want to do is let that weight settle. All right, and that sounds crazy to stand there with 800,000-900,000 pounds on your back, but what that does is it just lets the weight settle into your muscles, instead of if you rush it, the weight never settles into your muscles, you can never load everything. So what you need to do, stand up, unrack. I usually have Joe Bayless behind me or on the side, and he will say 1,000, 2 1,000, ready, go. That makes sure that I know I can't squat yet, because what you'll see, also if you hear plates rattling, that's a good sign that you're not ready to squat. Once you hear the plates not rattle, or if for those that are smooth lifters, it doesn't matter, but a lot of people will stand up real fast, they'll jerk the bar out of the rack. All right, you don't want that. Nice and smooth out of the rack, sit there big, let the weight settle, and then break your hips back. Hey guys, if you got any questions about box squatting, about how we do it here at Showtime, just leave a comment below, or you can email me, nick@showtimestrength.com. If you guys ever want to come out and train, just let me know.